And so that segues us right into this next point of letting the other person save face. Now this is so crucial, so key. I mean, if you think of literally like anybody, right, what is the one goal of most people, right, especially at a core human level, right? You've got, your hierarchy of what you want, and it's pretty basic stuff, food, surviving, and just these basic essentials at the bottom. But as you get to the top, right, as people want to fulfill what? They want to fulfill their maximum potential. Where does that potential, come, right? There's like three aspects of their lives, right? There's health, and then wealth, and relationships. And what's interesting is, of all these, right, everything here can be influenced by one key thing, and that is, of course, that's your face, right? Face. So face really represents, again, this idea of what other people think about you, how other people see you, and the way that you're perceived by your peers, by society, by the group around you. And what's so crucial about this is like this is what you care about more than almost anything else at a fundamental human level. Once you get past, basic, food, water, shelter, surviving, once you start to really come up to the most important factors, the higher level factors of other people's lives, really what they care about most all is interweaved around their face, right, and around their public perception. And so what you want to do is you want to help people build up this face and go higher and higher and higher so that they have a better standing. They have a better positioning, not just in the marketplace, but also in all aspects of their life, so that it's not just boosting, their financial potential, but more importantly, you're literally changing the entire way they're perceived by others, which in turn boosts their ego in the long term, right? This is one of the few things you can do to really, really, really continually increase your ego over and over and over again, is to build up face. And the way you can do that is by doing it to other people. Remember, if you want to get something, or if you want to achieve something like more face, all you have to do is help other people. You're going to gain respect. You're going to gain an established position. People are going to actually care about you and value you more in social situations and in the marketplace. And so that's the exact same thing that you want other people to do, right? You want other people to help you build face. And so the way you do that is very simple, right? If you are mean to other people and you tear other people down and you tell them how awful they are, point out their mistakes or criticize them, they're going to feel awful. And in exchange, as a result of that, they're going to make you feel awful. And instead of going up and up and up, you're going to go down and down and down. So it's literally the opposite of what you want to do is compete, right? So you see these different universities, or maybe you see like AJ and Rainbow arguing. And in reality, what it's doing is it's pulling each other down. It's bringing them down this hierarchy. It's bringing them down this pyramid. And it's destroying their public face collectively. So it's not just one of them going down. It's everyone. Like in any situation where you're criticizing or harming or arguing, it's just awful. And so you want to do the opposite of that. And what you want to do is so key. And we've said over and over again, but it's so important. And he says that you want to praise the slightest improvement. If there is any improvement whatsoever, praise it. Give tons and tons and tons of praise. Because that praise is key. That is the core of building face. The core of looking good in front of other people is just being praised. And that's all you have to do is praise other people and they'll praise you. Give them a ton of value socially and they'll do the same to you. It all comes full circle, right? And every single improvement you can tell somebody they did a great job on is a moment where they're going to see you as a much more important person in their life. They're going to see you as someone who pushes them towards the top, not dragging them down. And people want to surround themselves with people that push them towards the top of this pyramid of their own potential. Think of it like a leech on your face, a leech on your relationships, a leech on your growth, a leech on your own personal potential. And anytime that you have a negative action or negative statement, it's pulling down not just you, but the whole group of people around you and thereby alienating you from them. And so if you want to have this growth, you need to treat negativity like a leech and cut off its supply of blood, cut off its supply of nutrients and energy by totally ignoring it in your mind and not giving it any attention. Because as soon as you totally ignore negativity, all you're focused on in public places, right? All you're focused on in relations, all you're focused on in conversations, all you're focused on in the developments that you're having is positivity and building up that face in a positive manner, which is so key. It's crucial to actually having that success and going to that next step. And we're going to see so many more examples where this concept underwrites everything, because face is so powerful. And even if it's in the private sphere, people will literally do insane things just to save face, just to build face, build respect, and make themselves feel like they are more important. Because again, who's the most important person in the world to somebody else? Of course, it is them. And so if you can help them build face, if you help them build respect, if you help them build value, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to freaking get rid of this negativity. It's going to launch you straight up, right? You're going to not be going down this pyramid, but you're going to go up, right? You're going to help people reach their top. You're going to help them reach their full potential. You're going to help them reach where they want to be in regards to their respect in the marketplace. That's what most people want, right? They just want respect. They just want authority. They want a feeling of significance. And essentially, 80% of that feeling of significance comes from public face, public views, and how people look at them. Because that's going to reflect how they look at themselves. You look at, some of the most popular people on the planet, they have tons and tons of followers or whatever on Facebook or social media, whatever. And then you have some sort of like major fallout or destruction or whatever. And people are literally threatening suicide because their face has been destroyed. And they feel like they're just destroying their whole life. Their whole potential is fading away. And they have nothing left to live for. That's the power of face. It can literally drive people to awful places if you don't help them build it up. And if you do help them build it up, it can bring them to an insane place of total, complete joy, satisfaction, bliss, and happiness. So that's why it's so crucial to just give out tons and tons of praise and praise and praise and praise and praise and praise and praise over and over and over again. Because every single time you do that, it changes everything. I'll give you a power tip here. It's something that totally changed my life. And if you're taking notes, you definitely want to be taking notes and write this down. Just spend like freaking 5 minutes in the morning helping other people build face. Remember, you don't have to publicly declare things to actually help people build face. And so what you can do is so powerful to help others. All you have to do is get your freaking phone out, okay? And think of like the top 2, 3, 4 people in your life. Maybe for me it's like my parents, and then relationships, and then sometimes some students. And so think of like the most important people in your life and spend 15 seconds in the morning sending them like a freaking little text, all right? Bam, 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 bam. Just send them like, one paragraph text. Say, this is why, I love you. This is why I appreciate you. This is why I praise you. And just give them something personal, something real, something that can change everything. This is so powerful. It's a concept from Garrett White, freaking coolest guy on the planet. And just insane. If you can just send someone a little paragraph and be like, hey, this is why I love you. Or I really appreciate it this one time when you did something really nice to me. I remember my mom took me to a Renaissance festival when I was like 8 or 12. And I was like, hey, I really appreciate that. That's the next one, right? Appreciation. Tell people why you appreciate them. It doesn't have to take more than 15, 20, 30 seconds and send them a text, send them a picture, send them a message. Tell them why I admire you. This has totally changed all the relationships I've had. And instead of like my mom or my dad, they would always call me every single day and try to talk to me for like 20 minutes. And it would take forever just because like we don't live together, right? So it's a really big gap between us. And so they would like try to spend all this time. And I was like, dude, I got crap to do. And so I started doing this. I started spending like freaking 15, 30 seconds sending out a little message, just typing it in the morning, send it out to them. And they were so happy, so fulfilled. They felt like they had such a deep, intimate connection with me because I praised them. All of this is praise. You make them feel better about themselves, and they're going to transfer that to you. They're going to see you as a better person. They're going to see you with more intention. They're going to praise you more, right? Because you're giving them love, appreciation, admiration, all aspects of praise. So, like, dude, try this out for like a month. It'll change literally everything. Just the success rate you'll have with any kind of relationships or the development you'll have with any sort of peers or the connections you'll have with your parents and family. It is just absolutely berserk because no one ever freaking does this. And yet the moment that you do, it'll change everything because you're building people's face, you're building people's value, you're building up them. And that's the most valuable thing you can do to somebody is to push them to a higher level. Make them feel more important and more significant. I do this like in the ride on an Uber or just sitting in the morning. It doesn't matter. Before meditation. This changes absolutely everything and it doesn't take that much time. All right, just a couple of people. Start out with maybe one person for the first week and just send them a message every single morning. This is why I love you. Just a little paragraph. It can be a story about something you did together. It can be a characteristic. It can be an attribute you like. Maybe if you haven't spent as much time with someone, like a new relationship, it can just be like something that they said or an action or something. It doesn't have to be like super deep, like, this one time we did this insane adventure. Like, it doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be some sort of love, some sort of appreciation, or some sort of admiration. And I kind of cycle through the three, and I'll go like love one day, appreciate another day, admire another day. And you might have to change the words up just depending on how close your relationships are. But what's crazy is if you just assume that all of them are super close, and you treat all of them like they're super close, and you send these messages out as if they were very close relationships, you guys apply this, like, this is huge. This is so big. And it literally takes like less than 5 minutes in the morning to just send somebody a message. Just do it every single day for like a month. It'll change everything. You'll never want to stop. And try to maybe do it like when you're not trying to form any other habits. Just do it as its own habit and make it like part of your life, because it changes everything. And it's a cool little bonus for you guys since you're making it really deep into here, which is so awesome. Just this huge concept that changed literally everything. It doesn't have to be 10 people. It doesn't have to be 20 people. Just start small, let it happen, and you'll see the results from it, and you'll never want to stop. And you'll just want to keep doing more and more people. And I still want to do more and more people. It's just like I've got like so many people I want to do this to, because like I tried it out just for a little bit, and like they was just this insanely positive response, and people were like just telling me that I was the nicest guy on the planet, and that like they were so excited and so happy to hear just the like literally 2 sentences that I would text to them, because no one does this, right? For praise, so thirsty to build faith, that if you give them just a little drip of water out of your massive water bottle, which literally it doesn't cost you anything to do this, it's only giving to others, they will thank you more than anything else you could imagine. And it's just insane. So definitely worth a shot. And don't be distraught. Like for my mom, right, I would do this for weeks, and I like wouldn't get a response at all. But don't let that stop you. Don't let that, keep you from doing it over and over again, because it does have an impact. It does have a result. And it's like really helped, kind of diffuse some of the negativity with her, which is like, this is huge. I mean, it's so big. And know that even if you don't get a response immediately, like it has an impact and it has a result. And if you do get a response, you can tell that it's a really close, intimate relationship, and these people, they really do care. And so really great way to not only build up relationships, but also to like, mend if you have any issues whatsoever. This will change everything, because you're literally like adding so much value every single day over and over and over again. It just totally changes everything. And it's just huge. So definitely you love, appreciate, or admire. What do you love about someone? What do you appreciate about them? What do you admire about them? All you want to do, I mean, the verbs aren't as important, but definitely like say, I admire this, or I love this, or I appreciate this. And then say like, make it like something, a little bit more deep about them, like their characteristics. But really the point of everything, right, is very, very simple. And the point of everything is praise. It all stems from praise. Everything comes from praise and helping them build faith. Because remember, praise builds faith, right? So if you can praise someone, you can build their faith. And that's one of the most valuable things you can do to somebody, because it's a very personal thing. It's a very intimate thing. You can't just like buy faith. You can't buy praise online. It doesn't work like that. And so if you like become the person that can actually give them that faith, they will value you so much, because you literally have a monopoly almost over their entire like personal perception of themselves, because no one's doing this. And if you're the only person doing this, which very, very likely, like no one freaking does this, if you're the only person who does this on a consistent basis over and over again, especially if it's like your parents or something, or family, or relationship, spouse, whatever, it'll change everything. And you become so close, so interweaved, so intertwined, that they will just love you so much. So really powerful way there to build really strong relationships and take them to that next level with a personal touch, with just a little bit of effort on a day-to-day basis. Awesome. Okay. So here's like a great example of okay. So the end in friend. So this one's a little intense, but it's also like pretty funny. So Verity and Rainbow, they come to class, they're teaching, obviously, at the School of Friendship. And Twilight brings them into this big seminar, this big lecture hall, and basically uses them sort of as a demonstration about why friends don't have to be, exactly the same, very, very similar to be friends, right? And how you can have relationships with people that maybe aren't like the exact same as you, which is, basically the core of diversity, the core of inclusion, just some basic stuff. And she's like, look, these two don't really have much in common, but remember, they're united as part of the mastermind, right? They're united just in the background here as part of the main six, and so like they have this key relationship not just with each other but also with the group, right? So the group relationship is very, 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 very powerful, and that's one of the key things that actually brings them together, and we'll see how that develops in just a sec. So the deal is basically Twilight lists off like all the things they have that are sort of different from one another. And she basically says all these things about how they have nothing in common, which is totally true, because like Rarity's super into fashion and Rainbow's super into, just flying really fast and being like a super cool athlete. And so she's like, look, these guys don't have anything in common and they're still friends. And basically they're like, you know what, I think you're right, we don't have anything in common. What the heck? Why are we friends? And they start to question themselves, they have to doubt themselves. And so it kind of sucks, because she's, Twilight, she's doing this for an educational purpose. She's doing it so that these guys can like learn about friendship, about relationships, about connections, which is super cool, right? But at the core, what she's done is she's sort of injected negativity. She's injected negative thoughts, negative emotions, and just bad vibes into this relationship, which is really, 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 really bad. Because now what it's going to do is it's going to sort of tear away at the base of this relationship, and it's going to sort of, everything up here is still the same, but she's fundamentally destroying the foundation between the two and inserting this doubt about their friendship, about their connection, and asking them if they really, 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 really think that they should be connected, or if they're really, really, really friends. And so this doubt manifests itself, right? Remember, negativity might start out small, but negativity, if injected into any sort of social situation, any kind of relationship, negativity grows and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows to a peak point right here, where all of a sudden you realize that like something's really, really wrong, and it all starts here at the beginning. If you don't take that little bit of self-sacrifice right here to actually go in deep and deal with the problem and fix it at the beginning, which is what they try to do, but it just doesn't work out particularly well. So what happens is, these seminar kind of ends, and they're like, okay, cool, I guess they can be friends even though they have nothing in common, and then they're like, you know what, maybe we should spend like a day together so we can sort of bond together, right? And so Rainbow's like, okay, sounds like a plan. And they go over to like the buckball court. Remember, the buckball is kind of like sport. So they have this big court, and they're like, hey, let's play this sport, have some fun, because that's what Rainbow likes. And Rarity, she's not really athletic. She couldn't care less. And so she's just kind of sitting there like working on like dress plans and mapping some stuff out and kind of thinking, while Rainbow plays with, some other kids and just like has some fun. And they're like, we don't really, she just kind of ignores her basically, which sucks, because, at a fundamental level, you have to care a little bit, about other people and about their interests. Even if it's not necessarily like what you're passionate about, it's important to give other people at least respect or praise or admiration or something, instead of just totally ignoring them and saying, we don't care, it doesn't matter, and she's just ignoring her, which kind of sucks, right? Not necessarily the nicest thing to do. And so, Rainbow gets upset, and she's like, well, what the heck, man? You're not doing anything. And so Rarity's like, all right, well, let's go do my thing, right? And so then she goes over to her boutique or to her store. And basically, there's like tons of clients there, and she's just kind of like making dresses. And Rainbow's just like ridiculously bored, because she couldn't care less, about what she's showing her clients, or these shoes, or the dresses, or whatever. She doesn't care at all. And similar to what Rarity was doing when they were playing buckball, she just out of the zone, totally disconnected, not paying attention. And it sucks, because they aren't really trying to figure out anything that they both like to do, right? Instead, they're just doing what they like to do. Instead of taking a minute and stepping back and saying, what is something that we could do together? What's something we could do as a group, as a team, that could like actually be really fun? Something in common that we enjoy. All you have to do is take a minute and just think about that. Which is unfortunate, because that's not what they do. So, as you're planning events, as you're trying to get out and have some fun with friends, especially with masterminds, you got to pick things that what everyone enjoys. And so to sort of aid this process, Twilight comes in and she says, hey, you guys should read each other's favorite books. That would be fun. Because they both like reading, right? So Rarity reads, like mystery novels about fashion. And then Rainbow reads Daring Do, right? The adventure books. And again, you're sort of working in the right direction here, but it's not necessarily a joint event. It's not a group event. It's not something that they both like, and instead you're just focusing sort of on something that one person likes, something that another person likes, and just swapping them, right? And so that's not necessarily the goal when you try to focus on group events or working together. Like, you want to figure out something that you both like, not just sort of swishing the two. Because, Rarity doesn't really care about the adventure book, and Rainbow doesn't really care about, this mystery fashion novel. They don't care. So they come back after a week, and basically they just didn't really read each other's novels at all. And they pretend that they did at the beginning, but they both realized pretty quick that, Twilight's plan didn't really work, and neither of them actually cared enough to read it because they read like 5 pages and they were super bored. Rainbow was super bored, and Rarity thought it was just like bogus and didn't really want to read it. And so they kind of come to like an impasse, right? And they are like butting heads together, and they're like, well, what's going on here? We have nothing in common, no friends. And they're upset, and they're like, because again, this negativity is spread, right? And so they like clash and clash. You can kind of see in the picture, like they are super upset with each other at this point. And basically they say that they like never want to be friends again, which is just, oh my gosh, insane. But that's what they do, right? And they're like, they just are like, we can never talk together again. And basically, like, all the kids are like seeing these guys these two just fall out and break away from each other and totally destroy this connection they've been working so hard in the mastermind, right? I mean, they're just slashing it because they don't feel like they respect each other. They don't feel appreciated. They don't feel like they have any connection whatsoever. Because they haven't been putting in consistent additions to their relationship. They haven't been really working to connect with one another. Like, if you're in a mastermind like this, you want to sort of use that a daily texting thing or the messages or some sort of way to consistently keep in contact with people over and over and over and over again and strengthen these bonds over time instead of letting them fade away. You don't want to let it fade away because that's what happens here. These guys let it fade away, and then it gets all the way down here at the bottom, and now they're trying to do damage control. But it's totally destroyed, right? And they were starting out super, super well, and they could have kept going and going. But they didn't, because they didn't have consistent additions to that relationship, right? And this is not a reality because they let it fall out, right? And so you want to make sure that you're always, focusing and putting your attention towards things that matter. And this mastermind, again, remember, is the key to growth, the key to development, the key to success. And so you always want to be focusing, your attention on all these relationships. It doesn't have to be massive, right? Just take a little bit of time so that this crap doesn't happen. And basically what happens after this is Twilight makes up some adventure for them to go on together, and she steals like an amulet from the middle of the forest, and she tells Rarity and Rainbow that this amulet has gone missing, and basically she's like, you guys should go and find it together as a team. And so they go and they say, okay, look, we'll put our differences aside because they have a common goal, which is basically exactly what happens here. I mean, they come together and they go on this journey, they go on this process, and they reunite with the mastermind. They reunite with one another, and they say, we're going to solve these problems. And they realize that to really actually have success with this mission, to actually get to this goal, they have no choice but to work together, to be a team. And then they overcome these new challenges, and they go on this huge adventure. And remember, like, one of the best ways to develop a relationship is to do things with other people, to overcome challenges, to create new successes with others, and bond over those. And that's exactly what they do. They go and they have an adventure, and they have to, go through some dangerous parts of the big Everfree forest. And they come back together and they reunite. And all of a sudden, all the negativity, all the anger fades away as they start to reach this goal, because they realize that even though they might not have, like, super big characteristic traits or interests that are aligned, in reality, they're still very close friends because they connect with each other and they work towards common goals with each other. They understand that even though they're not perfect, they have that connection. They have that relationship. And it's something that can be created over time, forged with others and their help and their influence just by the act of doing with others, which is super, super powerful. And then they come back together, and everyone realizes that, like, it just takes team effort. It just takes collaboration and positivity and goals and success with one another to really create that relationship. And it doesn't have to be based on, like, the foundations of the individuals, because people can be different and still be friends. So a pretty, like, fundamental concept here, but one that very, very well is reiterated through this fallout that they almost have, but then it goes back to a better success. Just sort of like with markets, right? Like, you'll have up and up, growth. Then you have this huge fallout. And very often, you get this support level or whatever, and, this isn't about stocks, but, like, that's the bounce point to newfound highs. And that's exactly what happens here. They have this bounce point where they've been growing and growing and growing for so long, but they just had a little bit of a challenge here. And they had to bounce off it to go up to that new high and have that new success and have that next level of intimate connection in their relationship where they realize that they're not ever going to be the same person. And very rarely will they have the same interests. They can still come together and have fun and be friends and work towards common goals in collaborative and corrective environment, which is super powerful. Yakety sax! Okay, cool. So this one's really like key and crucial to like this idea of the growth with friends, right? And this concept that like the mastermind really like needs to stay together and will always stay together, hopefully, right? But like there can be conflicts, there can be challenges, there can be moments where people sort of question the group, they question maybe an individual, they question a relationship, they question just a temporary challenge, which can be like a temporary downturn in a long-term trend of growth. And that's sort of exactly what happens here, which is pretty powerful. So Pinky, you kind of see her instrument. She's, oh my God, so fun. Basically, like the yaks come and she goes, like they have this big party every single year. And so she goes over to Yakistan with all the yaks and basically just goes to have this giant party with them, which is super cool. And so they come and they have this big party. And while she's there, she sees this one guy and he's got like this giant instrument bag. It's like a big horn thing, sort of like a bagpipe, but just like 10 times bigger, and he's playing this giant like pseudo bagpipe thing and just making tons of ruckus, tons of noise. And she's like super passionate about it. She's like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. This sounds so awesome. And I would love to do that too, right? Because she's super excited about it, super passionate. And so she gets one and she brings it back. She comes back to Ponyville, right? And she goes around like basically like get the whole town here, right? And she, most people are just going about their day, having some fun. They're at market, they're just doing town stuff. And Pinky comes through town with this giant instrument just like strapped on her. And she is just like blasting tunes and this really like poor music everywhere because she's just got this instrument. She has no clue how to play it. But she's just like blasting this music everywhere because she loves it, right? She's super passionate about it, and it's something that like she really cares about. It makes her very happy to play this instrument, right? And so like she's really enjoying herself, and she's basically like just pissing off the whole town because nobody appreciates this really annoying like just bad music, which sucks, right? But like. It's really it's harsh, and so these guys that come together and they say, look, what are we going to do here, right? Well, how can we ramify this? What can we do to take Pinky and make her realize that like what she's doing is kind of hurting other people, even though it's helping her, right? So in the short term, right, like she's getting better, like her ego, her happiness is increasing, right? But in the long term, the whole town around her everyone else is just suffering. Really, like the amount of suffering is so much more for these other individuals than for the amount of joy that she gets from this. It's really bad, right? She's hurting other people, but she doesn't actually know it, right? So she doesn't understand that this is really affecting others in a negative way. And so her friends have to come together. They have to do something really tough, right? They have to band together. And they have to say, look, we need to break the hard truth to her. And this is so key. This is so crucial. It's so important to be what? It's so important to be transparent. And you want other people to understand how you feel. You want to share your emotions, especially with the mastermind. It's so key to let others know what you're thinking, know what you're feeling, so that you can work through challenges as a group, as a team, as a unit, right? This isn't a problem. This isn't an issue that she's dealing with. None of that. It's a challenge. It's something that can be overcome, right? You don't want to look at these negative situations as problems. You want to look at them as challenges that can be overcome, challenges that can lead to further levels of development. And so they come together and they come to Pinky and they say, Pinky, look, we know that you're having like the best time ever with this new instrument, and it makes you so happy. And it's a hard thing to do because they really like Pinky, right? Like they're very close friends. And so like saying this to her is very difficult. But Applejack comes out, she's honesty, and she's like, look, no one really likes, and Pinky, she just gets so sad. She's destroyed. She feels awful about what she's been doing and about her life and about her music. She just feels terrible. And she has this huge meltdown. She's like crying on the floor. She takes her instrument, throws it in the garbage, and just feels awful about herself because she thought, she's always smiling. She's always happy. She's just super, super excited. She thought that she was helping everyone. She thought that she was making people happy. She thought that everyone loved her and loved her music. She didn't understand that in reality, this was a very, very harmful impact on the world around her. She didn't understand that. And it's tough to do it, but you need to break the truth to your friends. You need to let them know what's going on, right? How would you like to be walking around with your fly down all day and have nobody tell you and just keep on going like a doofus all day, hurting other people, making other people, looking silly for yourself, right? Versus having a friend come in and say, hey, your fly's down, or hey, you're really annoying people, or hey, that's a bad thing to do. It's not good for anybody else. It's a tough thing to say, right? And you don't want to come out and be like, hey, I'm looking at your fly like it's down, but like you need to do it. Because in the long term, if you can just take that self-sacrifice of, in the short term, saying, this is, wrong or pointing something out, in the long term, it's going to really, really, really help that other person move up to a new level of success, new level of personal fulfillment, development. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, you need to take this short-term pain for the long-term gain. And it's really tough for them to see her go through this huge revolutionary period because, like, she was super, super into this instrument, right? And so as her friends tell her that no one likes it, she feels awful, and she goes into, like, this huge amount of depression, right? She's super, super sad, and her friends see her. She basically, like, holes herself up in her room, and she just feels awful about herself, and her ego is just destroyed. Her face, her public perception, her respect is gone. And she's sitting here crying, so sad, all day, every day. And her friends feel so bad about this. They have no clue what to do. They try to give it back to her, but she doesn't want it back because she understands that no one in the town likes the music, right? It's the yak music. And so these guys have to come together and think of a way that they can actually make this a reality in a constructive, positive way for everybody involved. That's kind of what they do, right? So they get rid of all this crap. Basically, they say, look, we know that, like, you really like this instrument. We feel bad that you can't play it. But here's a cool strategy. Here's a thing that you can do, okay? What if, instead of focusing on playing in Ponyville, where no one really likes the music, right? What if instead we go over here and we let you play in Yakistan? And she realizes that she was doing all the right things. She was just doing it in the wrong place. And she was trying to express herself. She was just expressing herself in the wrong place. So she realized that there's this whole world of potential over here, this whole world of growth. All she has to do is overcome this harsh reality and figure out a new path to success. That's what her friends show her. They realize that this is yak music. This is what they love. This is what they're passionate about. And so instead of holding up in a room, right, what she has to do is go back over to Yakistan. Go back over to the land of this music. And that's exactly what she does. She goes over here with her big instrument. She gets to Yakistan and she just starts playing. Same music, same sound, everything's the same. And everyone there loves it. They have an amazing time. They think she's the best. Because that's what they're passionate about, right? That's the vibrations that they kind of sync with and they're aligned with. And so all you have to do, right, is if something's not working, change the audience, change the stage, change the presentation, and get in front of people who are going to actually admire you and praise you instead of those who don't enjoy whatever you're doing. Because the moment you do that, you're going to have greater fulfillment as a person, but more importantly, like, the impact and the value that you deliver and the change that you have is going to be so much greater than it could ever be if you're doing it in the wrong audience, doing it in the wrong place. So just remember that, like, it might not be you. It could be sort of where you're expressing yourself. And just find the right place to do it. You don't have huge levels of impact, success. And it all comes from what? Having that group, having that team, having that mastermind. It's going to give you a new perspective and let you understand where the best place to perform and the best place to be really is. And for her, it was in Yakistan. And so all she needed was her friends to let her know that. And her friends have an outside perspective, a neutral outside perspective. They got her to that next level of fulfillment, that next level of personal success playing the instrument. So really powerful stuff here. Apply it to any new situations that you come into with, especially with your group of friends or your masterminds. You really, really want to give people that outside perspective to have the results that they desire.